I never thought I'd live to tell the tale. I never thought I'd live to tell the tale in which the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres have a swagger, or as the kids say these days, swag. Former sports director, Channel 2 all-time legend in this area, Ed Kilgore, as well as the current radio voice of the Buffalo Bills, John Murphy, didn't even know what that word meant. And I say that with so much respect. They shouldn't know what that word means. They're not from this generation with memes and swag and whatever you want to throw out there. And although I am from this generation, I'm an old school guy. I like the old school guard. I like the old guard, guys like Ed Kilgore, guys like Rick Jeanneret. I like the old school guys, the Vince Scullys, the Al Michaels. I'm not of the new age. I'm a new age, old school guy. And for me to say that the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres have swagger, it's something that I've never really talked about. And what does swagger really mean is the question. To me, swag or swagger means that you have a newfound confidence that you didn't have before. And it's a confidence that is painfully obvious via body language or even just in public, whether it's the interviews, maybe the clothes you wear, the jewelry, the whatever it may be. And there's a definite newfound swagger at One Bills Drive and at Seymour Knox Plaza. Josh Allen played what I believe is one of the best games of his career, maybe the best game of his career, outside of the Week 2 victory versus Minnesota, which was his first career start. I thought this game was a lot better in a lot of different ways. And I put out a statement today that was on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Facebook page that I think Josh Allen's getting better each and every week. And somebody said, well, does that mean he got better against Green Bay? There's a lot of ways a quarterback can get better outside of the stat sheet. I feel like the stat sheet in this day and age is looked upon so heavily that it's almost at a overwhelmingly sickening level. Just like the national media's love fest for Josh Rosen, which I never really seemed to understand. Granted, there was a guy there that battled in a lot of real big college games at UCLA. Granted, he threw for 300, 400 yards in college quite often. Granted, he played at a big-time school, all that, but if we're going to say all that, we also have to throw the flip side of the coin out and, turn the coin over and look at the opposite side of the coin. And that is that Josh Rosen is a brittle guy, had brittle knees, bad shoulder, bad elbow, concussions, and really is a walking Band-Aid. Playing on a team in the Arizona Cardinals that has a hodgepodge offensive line, much like the Buffalo Bills, but I would even go as far as to say that the Arizona Cardinals offensive line is just as bad, if not worse, than Buffalo's. The only reason why I'm bringing Rosen into this is that I have to, and that's why. It's because I have to. I have to talk about the fact that prior to the Buffalo Bills entering this draft in 2018, most fans thought that Josh Allen was the last guy they wanted. And I was really one of the few guys that went out on a limb and did my research and then kind of stated my opinion on the fact that Josh Allen was someone that I really liked, that I thought could be a future stud in this league. Thought Washington would be interested, thought Arizona would be interested, thought Miami would be interested, and I thought Buffalo would be interested. And ultimately, they were, and as were the other teams in the equation, Miami, who Buffalo had to leapfrog over to get Josh Allen, as well as Arizona, who selected Josh Rosen with the 10th overall selection. So I wasn't really out of my element in saying that, but it was really unpopular opinion at the time that I'm going to keep throwing in the faces of the ignorant haters out there that said that I was virtually nuts for having Josh Allen as my number 2 quarterback and having Sam Darnold as my number 1 guy. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield was tied for 5th with Lamar Jackson. And all of that, the ranking and all that stuff, that goes into saying without knowing where these guys are going to go. That was just a ranking. Did I know at that time that Baker Mayfield was going to go to Cleveland? No, I didn't. And neither did some of the most highly respected insiders in the sport. Guys like Adam Schefter, guys like Sal Palantonio, guys like Chris Mortensen. The ESPN insiders didn't know it. The NFL Network insiders didn't know it. The Ian Rappaports. They only were left reporting that news minutes before it was actually, or maybe hours before it was actually conducted, before that actually happened. So when it went in the order of Allen, or when it went in the order of Mayfield, Darnold, Allen, 7th overall, Rosen 10th, and then the back end of that round, Lamar Jackson, a guy like Mason Rudolph falls into the 3rd round. I really thought that Buffalo came away the winner of that for themselves. I thought the Jets for themselves came out the winner. I thought the Browns came out the winner taking Mayfield. I did also say that it was the worst 1st overall pick ever. And I said that because I thought that Cleveland could have got Mayfield with their 2nd first-round pick, which would have been the 4th overall selection. They take Saquon Barkley 1st overall, and then they go with Mayfield 4th overall rather than Denzel Ward. But they made the decisions that they made, and that's that. Felt like the Jets were really high on Sam Darnold. I feel like that's why they took him 3rd, and I think if they had the choice between Darnold and Mayfield, they would have took Darnold. I really do. I think that was the guy that they wanted all along. But Buffalo moving up to take Allen over Rosen, I thought, was the right move. I've always said that. I'll always continue to believe it. And now more than ever, it is more obvious that was the right move. And people can say I'm jumping the gun on that all they want, but the proof is in the pudding thus far that Josh Allen has actually been the better prospect. Despite the fact that he was out a few weeks with this bad elbow, he comes back and has shown an energy, a confidence, a swagger, a moxie that the Buffalo Bills have desperately needed. And that's the end of part 1 in terms of the Buffalo Bills swagger talk. As far as the Buffalo Sabres go, they're reeling off 9 victories, coming off 9 straight wins, which is 1 game away from being tied for the franchise record at 10. A record that they achieved back in 2006 with a team that went on to win 53 games and a President's Trophy with the best record in the National Hockey League, ultimately losing in the first round of the playoffs to the Ottawa Senators. So this is different, though. That team was then, this is now. That team was built for a short window. This team is built for the long haul. And just as short as that window was, the Sabres regime at that time made that window even shorter and sped up the process in terms of their rebuild, which essentially became a rebuild on top of a tank that led them the way to where they are now. Now you have a deep offensive squad mixed in with finally a healthy Zach Bogosian, Jake McCabe, Rasmus Ristolainen, and a prodigy on defense in Rasmus Dahlin, as well as franchise defenseman and a franchise centerman in Jack Eichel. You've made moves here and there to make your team better. You know what you needed. You go out and you get Carter Hutton for a 2-year, really, really reasonable and fantastic deal. You go out and trade for Jeff Skinner, a really, really reasonable, fantastic deal. Trading Cliff Pooh and some mid-round picks to Carolina for Jeff Skinner. And you go out and you bring in a low-rated, underrated player that was a part of some really important Pittsburgh Penguins teams in Connor Sheary. That I think that move is just as important as the Jeff Skinner one, if not more important. And I know that sounds crazy because Jeff Skinner has 18 goals and Connor Sheary doesn't, but it's like a puzzle where the puzzle pieces are really starting to fit and mold within each other. Because that one move can make 2 other players better, as well as Jeff Skinner can make 2 other players much, much better. So all these moves really one hand washed the other with these moves. And that's why we've seen the Sabres come out with a lot of confidence, understanding how they can win, not why they need to win or not an urgency to win for the fans. They're going to win on their own terms. They're going to win their way. They're going to continue to play the same type of game, up-tempo offense, fast defense to the puck possession, shots on goal, common principles in hockey that win games. Getting the puck to the net as many times as humanly possible creates more scoring chances. That's just common sense. And Phil Housley's common sense offensive defensive approach has really been the crux of this whole streak. And I will say that throughout this whole streak, there have been some games that have been very close, but the Sabres are finding a way to win those games where years prior they would find ways to quit and lose those games with guys like Ryan O'Reilly and with, yes, I hate to say it, a bit of a character issue player in Evander Kane. Now they have no distractions. They have no whiners, no sissies on this team. They're ready to play. Guys like Kyle Okposo really melding together well with guys like Casey Middlestat, who was another great draft selection by the Buffalo Sabres. And this team, as I said, is built for the long haul. You have Eichel, you have Reinhart, you have Dahlin, you have Middlestat, you have Okposo. You have the game veteran in Jason Pominville who could run for mayor of Buffalo tomorrow and probably win against Byron Brown. You have a team now. And it sounds so simple to say that. It sounds so easy to say that, but do I expect this winning streak to continue? I don't know. But I'm excited for the ride, and I know that this team is far better than what they've been, and I know the Bills are far better than where they've been long term. Josh Allen, Jermaine Edmonds, Harrison Phillips, Shaq Lawson has really shown big things this year, in my opinion. Trey White, a revamped secondary, and Hyde and Poyer. Wyatt Teller was a fantastic selection. So there's a few pieces there, and plenty more to come. And I find a newfound swagger with the Buffalo Bills that I've never seen before, and a swagger with the Sabres that I also haven't seen before. Take it or leave it. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take. Let's go Buffalo.